So, how did it all happen? You know, how did you get to this point?
Well, I really never thought I'd be a teacher, because when I was in school, I was the completely quiet kid who would sit there praying the teacher wouldn't call on me. I had my homework done every single day, because the thought of not having it done, that would mean that there would be attention called to me in class, and I could not stand that. And I remember in English class, we had this speech we had to do. It was an impromptu speech where the teacher had this drawer. His name was Mr. English, my English teacher. I had him for 2 years, it's kind of crazy. But he had this drawer of all kinds of weird things. And I still have this, I still get nervous remembering this speech we had to do, where you come into class, and you have to open the drawer and not look and pull something out, and for 5 minutes talk about what it was in front of the class. I don't remember what I pulled out, but I just remember I was so nervous about that. So I never thought I would be in front of people all day long. The earliest thing I remember wanting to do was to be one of those professional water skiers at SeaWorld. Because I was small, I could be the person on the top. And I grew up in Pittsburgh. There were a lot of rivers. There was like a water ski jump in the river, and so I'd see people going over that. And I could water ski when I was pretty young, so I really thought that's what I wanted to do. To make a living. Although my first job was dressing up as the Armour hot dog. After that, I went on to dressing up as Chuck E. Cheese. And it was great, because I worked at Chuck E. Cheese. I'd work in the kitchen, and you'd rotate. Like, some people would work in the kitchen, and then you'd go out, and like one person would be chosen to leave the kitchen and to dress up as Chucky. And I was the shortest one, and so like a tall guy would be Chucky, and then would run in and give me the costume all sweaty and everything. And then I'd get in, I'd go out, and the kid would be like, "Mommy, Chucky got shorter." So I didn't really think that was a good career either. It was so hot, the whole character thing. So, although I did hear that like at Disneyland, the costumes are air conditioned, so I thought maybe that was an option. So after that, I thought I wanted to be a roller coaster designer. So I graduated from high school, and that was my plan. I did a little research, and it looked like a great, career opportunity at that time. And the early '89, so they were building roller coasters all over the place, all these parks. So I started out in mechanical engineering, and I thought, I'm going to build roller coasters. And the classes were sort of fun until I got to thermo. I got a C. It was awful. I found out that if I stayed in mechanical engineering, I'd have to take more thermo classes. And so I switched to civil engineering. I thought I could still build roller coasters as a civil engineer. I could just build the structure of them, and someone else would figure out how they move. So I did that for a little bit, and then I did some more research on the roller coaster thing, and I found out that the main steel coaster company in the country is in Utah. I didn't really think I wanted to live in Utah, so I sort of got the whole roller coaster thing out of my mind, and I also thought I wanted to do something a little more socially worthwhile. So I got really interested in air pollution. My favorite class in college was air pollution, which is strange. So then I went into civil engineering, and I studied environmental engineering and public policy. I thought maybe I'd want to work for the EPA. And so I graduated, and I worked for a while for the health department in Pittsburgh, doing air pollution emissions inventories for Coke ovens. So I would basically sit in front of a computer and look at all these numbers. It was for the county, so all the numbers were like years behind. It was like, this was supposed to be calculated by someone 5 years ago. We're so behind, just do whatever. And eventually you'll come up with some numbers, and you'll say they gave off these many pollutants, and then we'll give them some fine. And so it was kind of a pointless job. The only fun thing was about once a month we got to visit the Coke oven, so we get to wear a hard hat. And I found out about the whole hierarchy of hard hats. Did you know that there are different colors, and the colors mean things? If you have like an orange or yellow one, you're a lesser person on the totem pole. But if you have a white one, that's like you're the professional. I got to wear the white hard hat. I was like 22 years old. I had the white hard hat to like walk around. So I did that for about 6 months, and I thought I was going to save the world, and all I was doing was sitting there calculating numbers, and then these steel companies would get like a tiny little fine, and it wouldn't mean anything. So I realized I didn't want to do that. And also the office job thing I just found was not for me. At that time, IM was just starting, but not like within everyone in the world, but I could IM the guy across the hall from me. And so throughout the day we would just send each other little messages, and that's how we would sort of stay awake and drinking lots of coffee and stuff. but the whole office thing wasn't for me. So I went back to my college advisor, and I told her that I didn't really think that air pollution was my thing. I did also like water pollution, but I figured it would probably turn out to be the same as air pollution, but just wetter. So she had been a high school physics teacher for 8 years before she was a professor. And she's really the one who said, I think you would be a great teacher. And she said, you know, you can teach math, you can teach physics, pretty much that's what you can teach. So pick one of those. And so I figured, well, physics, it's roller coasters. Okay, so I can teach kids about roller coasters and maybe go on field trips or something. So then I went to grad school. I came up to Boston College because they gave me money, and they were one of only 2 schools who would give me money, because as a teacher, when you're going to grad school, it's very hard to get any sort of funding. They expect you to just pay for it all out of your pocket and then pay back your loans on your teacher's salary. I don't know how that's supposed to work. And so for 2 years, I was taking classes part-time, and the rest of the time I was teaching undergraduate physics labs. And I thought that would prepare me for teaching. You know, they're 18, 19 years old. It's like the same as teaching high school. So I never did the whole student teaching thing, because after teaching the college classes and taking my regular courses, I was supposed to take an entire semester and go to some high school and teach and pay them $8,000 to teach for free, like pay the college because they would come and watch me. And then I said, well, how am I supposed to live? I need to make some money and all that. So I decided I would just get a job. And they told me you can't get a job without student teaching. You don't know what to do. But physics teachers are very hard to come by, and so I got a couple job offers. So I ended up teaching 8th grade in Sudbury, and to say 8th grade is not the best grade.